Have you ever wondered why some people spend their entire lives hoarding safety, only to find themselves empty-handed while others risk everything to gain it all? The answer lies in a secret hidden deep within the earth, told through the story of two seeds that face the same soil but different destinies. In this primeval forest, where life breathes in every shadow, these two seeds arrived to fulfill their purpose. Yet their paths would soon diverge forever. A haunting question echoes through the trees. Why is it that the more you try to stay safe, the more likely you are to simply disappear? Beneath the surface of Mother Earth, a silent drama unfolds as the two seeds contemplate their future in the dark, damp, and mysterious underground world. The first seed, named Tin, decided that the world above was far too dangerous. It curled inward, hardening its shell to keep the outside world away. Tin feared that if it opened up, it would lose its identity. It prioritized protection over potential, choosing the comfort of its own dark, small shell. Rainwater seeped into the ground, bringing the promise of life, but Tin saw only the threat of decay and the destruction of its perfect, glossy form. Meanwhile, the second seed, Dong, felt the call of the rain. It didn't see a threat. It saw an invitation to become something much greater than itself. This is where our journey begins, at the intersection of fear and faith, where one chooses to hold on and the other chooses to let go. Tin whispered to itself, "The outside world is filled with terrors. If I reach out, bugs will eat my tender shoots and the sun will burn me." It began to hoard its energy, refusing to share even a fraction of its essence with the earth, believing that hoarding was the only way to survive. For Tin, safety was not a foundation for growth, but a prison. It did not realize that by refusing to change, it was choosing a slow death. It watched as the cycles of nature passed it by. Tin remained a seed, perfect in its isolation, yet utterly useless to the world and itself. The fear of breaking was so great that Tin forgot its purpose. It was born to be a tree, but it chose to remain a pebble. Hoarding its life force, Tin felt a false sense of victory. It had successfully avoided the pain of growth and the uncertainty of the wild world. But nature does not favor the static. In the heart of the forest, anything that does not flow eventually becomes a monument to its own fear. It joined the ranks of the forgotten, those who believed that their current form was their final destination, never realizing they were merely a beginning. The hoarding of safety became Tin's ultimate curse. It was protected from the storm, but it was also protected from the sun and the rain. It was safe, yes, but it was alone. And in the economy of the universe, that which is kept for oneself eventually turns into bitter dust. By refusing to die as a seed, Tin never had the chance to be born as a tree. It remained a ghost of its own potential. The very environment that could have nurtured it began to turn away. Life seeks life, and Tin had become a symbol of stagnant resistance. Every gift the universe offered was rejected. Tin's survival strategy was actually a strategy for obsolescence, a slow fading into the deep nothingness. Hoarding is the enemy of evolution. When we stop the flow of energy, we stop the clock of our own development and start the decay. It had achieved total security. Nothing could touch it, nothing could hurt it, but also nothing could love it or help it grow anymore. Tin's choice is a mirror for many of us. We build walls around our hearts and lives, thinking we are safe when we are only trapped. Let us leave Tin in its self-imposed darkness and look toward the one who dared to break, the one who dared to truly live. Now we turn to Dong. Unlike Tin, Dong understood a fundamental truth. To become a tree, it must first stop being a seed. Dong felt the pressure of the earth and the weight of the water. It didn't resist. It surrendered to the beautiful, painful process of transformation. With a sudden crack, the old identity of the seed was shattered. This was not destruction. It was the birth of a new, magnificent existence. Evolution requires the sacrifice of the past. Dong gave up its safety and its shape to reach for something it could not yet see. Every inch of progress was a struggle. The soil was heavy and the rocks were hard, but the fire of life within Dong was unquenchable. When it finally broke through the surface, the world was vast and terrifyingly beautiful. Dong was no longer protected by the earth, but by its growth. The wind tried to knock it down, and the sun tried to dry it out, but Dong used every challenge as fuel to grow stronger. It understood that growth is not a destination, but a continuous flow. To stop moving is to stop living, and Dong chose life every day. Dong became a conduit for energy. It took from the earth and gave to the sky, creating a cycle of abundance that Tin could never imagine. The pain of the initial crack was long forgotten, replaced by the joy of expansion and the thrill of touching the clouds with its branches. By losing its shell, Dong gained the whole world. It was no longer a solitary entity, but a vital part of the forest's living heartbeat. The crack is where the light gets in. It is the moment when our potential overflows the boundaries of our fears and starts to manifest. Dong didn't hoard the rain. It used it and then returned it to the air. It lived in a state of constant, healthy, and vibrant flow. Its strength didn't come from a thick shell, but from its ability to adapt, to bend with the wind, and to keep reaching for the light. From its new height, Dong could see the horizon. It realized that the safety it once craved as a seed was actually a very small world. The storm was not an enemy, but a teacher. It tested the roots and strengthened the wood, proving that growth is the best form of security. Success is the result of thousands of tiny evolutions. Dong didn't become a tree overnight. It became a tree by refusing to stay a seed. Your scars are your strengths. The places where you were forced to break are the places where you are now the most resilient and powerful. The difference between life and death is often just the willingness to be broken. Dong accepted the break. Tin fought it and lost everything. To understand this deeper, let us look at the water. See this stagnant pond? It keeps every drop it receives, holding it tight, never letting go. Because it refuses to flow, it becomes a breeding ground for disease. It is full, but it is dead. It hoards its water until it rots. Compare this to the great Yamuna River. It never keeps the same water for more than a moment. It is constantly giving itself to the ocean. The river is alive because it flows. It receives from the mountains and gives to the plains, remaining eternally fresh through the act of letting go. Tin is the pond. Dong is the river. One sought security and accumulation. The other found immortality and circulation. Which one are you choosing today? Your money, your talent, and your energy are like water. If you hoard them, they will stagnate and lose their value, eventually poisoning your spirit. The miser thinks he is rich because his vault is full, but he is the poorest of men because his life has no flow or purpose. But the one who shares, who allows their wealth and wisdom to circulate, becomes a fountain of life. They gain more by giving more away. The river creates abundance everywhere it touches. It doesn't worry about running dry because it is connected to the infinite source of the mountains. When the drought comes, the stagnant pond vanishes quickly. It had no connection to the source, only its own small, limited, and hoarding nature. The river survives the heat because it is part of a larger system. Flowing is its protection. Movement is its shield against the dry sun. In your own life, notice where you are hoarding. Are you hoarding love? Are you hoarding ideas? Are you hoarding your true self behind a shell? When you let life flow through you, you become a partner with the universe. You are no longer just a seed, you are part of the forest. The law of the universe is simple. Anything that is not used for the benefit of the whole will eventually be taken away by time. By giving itself to the ocean, the river does not die. It becomes the ocean. This is the ultimate evolution of the soul that dares to flow. The pond remains a pond until it disappears. It never knows the majesty of the sea or the thrill of the mountain peaks it came from. Every drop in the river is a traveler. Every moment of its existence is a movement towards something greater, something more infinite and more beautiful. Hoarding is a fear-based illusion. Flow is a faith-based reality. One leads to the grave of the ego, the other to the garden of the soul. Remember the river when you feel the urge to hide. Remember the pond when you are afraid to share. Choose the flow and you choose life. Decades later, we return to the site of Tin's choice. The ground is flat and featureless. There is no sign that anything ever lived here. Inside the earth, we find only a ghost, a hard, empty husk that never fulfilled its promise. Tin stayed safe, and in doing so, it became nothing. It left no legacy. It gave no shade. It produced no oxygen. It simply occupied space until time finally reclaimed its unused and wasted potential. But look at Dong, where a tiny, vulnerable seed once dared to break, now stands a giant, a king of the forest, reaching for the stars. Dong's courage created a monument of life. Its trunk is a history of every storm it survived and every drop of rain it chose to share. The tree is a sanctuary. Because Dong was willing to be broken, it now provides life and protection for thousands of other living beings every day. Dong has become immortal. Through its fruit and its seeds, it is expanding itself across the entire continent, a legacy born from a single crack. Even in death, Dong's leaves nourish the earth, preparing the ground for the next generation of seeds who will have to make their own choice. The safety of Tin led to total oblivion. The vulnerability of Dong led to eternal influence. The path of the hoarding seed is a dead end. We often mistake the shell for the self. We protect the shell and kill the soul. Dong knew that the soul is only freed when the shell is gone. One seed thought it was protecting its life, but it was only protecting its death. The other seed died to its old self to live forever. The tree is a community. It is a testament to the power of opening up and inviting the world in, rather than locking it out in fear. The cycle continues. Every giant was once a seed that decided that growth was worth the risk of breaking. Every legacy starts with a crack. You are at a crossroads. Will you be the dust of Tin or the shade of Dong? Will you hoard your fear or flow with your faith? The forest is made of Dongs. It has no place for the Tins who refuse to contribute. Nature only keeps what continues to evolve and share. Behold the result of a single courageous act, 1,000 years of shade from a moment of surrender. This is the magic of true growth. Now, let us reflect on the lessons of the two seeds and how they apply to the garden of your own precious and unique life. First, understand that fear is the ultimate barrier to evolution. When you act out of fear, you build a shell that will eventually become your tomb. Second, realize that circulation is the law of the universe. To receive the new, you must be willing to let go of the old and the safe. Your potential is infinite, but it is locked behind the door of your comfort zone. The crack in your comfort is the doorway to your greatness. As the sages say, the only way to keep what you have is to give it away. Hoarding is the fastest way to lose everything you value. True maturity is not when you have accumulated much, but when you have the courage to shed your old skin and embrace the unknown future. Time is moving. Every second you spend in your safe shell is a second of growth you are stealing from the person you are meant to be. Look around you. Where can you break your shell today? Is it in a conversation you've been avoiding? A dream you've been hiding? A gift you've withheld? When you align with the law of circulation, the universe starts to work for you. Doors open where there were only walls, and resources find you. Like the seed and the caterpillar, your current form is just a phase. Don't fall in love with the container. Fall in love with the life inside. Gratitude is the pump that keeps the flow going. When you are grateful for what you have, you naturally want to share it with the world. Don't hoard your life. Don't save your best for someday. Someday is a shell that never cracks. Today is the soil, the rain, and the sun. Open your eyes to the abundance around you. There is enough for everyone if we all agree to keep the energy moving and the love flowing. Thank you for listening to the story of the two seeds. May you have the courage of Dong and the wisdom to leave the shell of tin behind. Start your evolution now. Break the shell, reach for the light, and become the Daithut you were always destined to be in this beautiful life. The crack is not the end, it is only the beginning. Trust the process, trust the earth, and most importantly, trust the magnificent life within you. Go forth and grow. Let your life be a river, not a pond. Let your soul be a tree, not a seed. Be the flow.